tonight we are joined live from the Al McGuire Center to preview the women's basketball showdown with Seton Hall.
Meanwhile, how will the men's basketball team move on?
Thank you for joining us. Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam! Dunk! Oh, that's a poster.
Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison McMillan, joined by Ruby Mulvaney. We start today's show over inside the Al McGuire Center with sports multimedia journalist Gabriel Cicericki, as the women's basketball team takes on Seton Hall. Gabriel?
Hi, Allison and Ruby. It's good to be here.
And we're happy to have you. The women's basketball team finds themselves back in the win column, coming off a 69-58 road victory over the DePaul Blue Demons. Gabriel, what does that win do for this team?
Yeah, that momentum for this team was huge, Allison. After a tough loss against the Villanova Wildcats on National Marquette Day, Marquette needed a win. With that win, they carry over to the Seton Hall Pirates today in what is a crucial game to keep their March Madness hopes alive.
I bet. In the win over DePaul, sophomore guard Kenzie Hare led Marquette yet again in scoring with 19. Meanwhile, Eliza Carlin notched a 16-point, 12-rebound performance. Just how good are these two for the Golden Eagles?
Yeah, Allison, these two are the stars of the team. Let's start with Kenzie Hare. After a freshman season where she averaged single-digit points and 30% shooting splits, she comes into this season shooting 45% from three. That's good for 7th in the nation. Her 15 points a game are second for the Marquette Golden Eagles, and she's 14th in the nation as well in total three-pointers made. Kenzie Hare, if she hits 2 three-pointers today, will pass Natija Heidman's record for most three-pointers made in a sophomore season. Moving on to Eliza Carlin, she came into the season as a Big East honorable mention. By the end of the year, she will be a Big East all-first teamer, as she's averaging 18 points and 8 rebounds a game. Eliza Carlin comes to this one after scoring 30 against Seton Hall last time, and she has certainly made that jump into being the star for the Marquette Golden Eagles, Allison.
All right, then, looking into this game, this is the second of 2 meetings for these teams. Marquette took the first game, 75-54, in what was a lopsided affair throughout the contest. Should we expect a similar result in this game?
Yeah, we're going to have to see. Nothing is free in the Big East, but Marquette at home is nothing but money. With only 2 losses at home all season, the Marquette Golden Eagles dominate at home. The Seton Hall Pirates have never beaten Marquette in the Al McGuire Center. They are 0-13 against this Golden Eagles squad here in the Al. So I don't expect things to be much different. However, expect it to be a lot closer than that 20-point win over in Seton Hall.
Thank you. For Seton Hall, senior forward Azana Baines was named to the Big East all preseason watch list and leads the way for the Pirates, averaging 14 points and 6 rebounds. How can Marquette slow her down?
Yeah, Allison, Baines has definitely been a star for the Seton Hall Pirates, averaging about 14 points and 6 rebounds a game. She's the focal point of their offense. She likes to get it going in the paint, which means she's going to draw Eliza Carlin for a lot of this game. If Carlin can't get it done, look for Coach Duffy to bring in freshman center Skylar Forbes. Forbes stands at about 6'3" and is really a dominant presence inside the paint. Those two will be the key to stopping Baines in this game.
All right. The Golden Eagles find themselves sitting 5th in the Big East Conference, right on the cusp of an NCAA tournament appearance. Will they make it in?
It's going to be real close, Allison. The Golden Eagles have 4 games, including this one, remaining on their schedule before the Big East tournament starts. At this point in the season, bracketology has them as a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. That's just about as close as it gets. If Marquette wins out their last 4 games, I do expect them to make it. They play the Seton Hall team, which they are projected to win, and then they play a St. John's team who they lost to on the road, but here in the Al, I do expect them to take that game as well. They ended with a Xavier game and a Butler game, which are two of the bottom teams in the Big East. Marquette is projected to win those as well. If they win all 4 games, including the win against DePaul, that's a 5-game win streak to end the season, which should be just enough to put them in postseason contention. If that is enough, they have the Big East tournament where they'll need to at least win 1 game if they want to solidify their shot at a March Madness appearance.
Thank you, Gabriel. Coming into today's game, Liza Carlin adds another honor to her collection.
The star senior forward continues her big season by being named to the Big East Weekly Honor Roll.
Carlin gets on the honor roll after her 16-point, 12-rebound double-double in the win against DePaul.
That marks the 7th double-double for Carlin this season.
This is her 7th conference honor she has earned this year. She also has 3 Big East Player of the Week nods.
The Marquette men's basketball team have won 8 straight and hope to make it 9 versus the number 1 ranked UConn Huskies.
UConn gets the action going with a quick layup, but Marquette doesn't take too long to respond, with the help of junior forward David Joplin.
The game is exactly what every Hoops fan was hoping for when both teams continue to trade baskets early in the first half.
This was until the Huskies got serious and closed out the first half of the 13-2 run, giving them a 16-point lead over Marquette going into the break.
And things quickly got uglier. Poor shooting and rebounding led to the demise of Marquette.
The game got way out of reach for the Golden Eagles as UConn shot 37% from 3 to Marquette's 21%.
The Golden Eagles leave Connecticut in an embarrassing fashion, losing 81-53 to their rivals in Connecticut.
Marquette will have a shot at revenge when they match up against UConn again on March 6th. After an embarrassing loss this past weekend, the Golden Eagles have an opportunity to turn their fortunes around.
No better team to play than the 0-14 DePaul Blue Demons. DePaul has yet to win a game in conference and are 3-22 on the season.
Marquette is 51-18 versus the Blue Demons all time and are 7-3 in their last 10 matchups.
DePaul's last win over the Golden Eagles came on March 2nd, 2022. By a score of 91-80.
Since then, things have changed to say the least. Senior guard Jalen Terry is the only remaining player on the roster, and the changes continue after the firing of former head coach Tony Stubblefield.
Interim head coach Matt Brady is off to a slow start as the Blue Demons are 0-7 with their new coach.
Long story short, DePaul is struggling in the Big East, and the Golden Eagles need to take advantage.
After an 86-73 victory at Wintrust Arena last month, the expectations are to win.
Tyler Kolek led the way against DePaul as the senior guard had 22 points and 7 assists. Junior forward David Joplin had one of his best games, where he put in 21 points and 6 threes. Senior center Oso Iguodaro had 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, and what was a well-rounded victory for the Golden Eagles.
Marquette will have to look out for senior forward Jeremiah Oden, who dropped 25 against Marquette last time out. Jalen Terry had 22 of his own, as he looks to continue a string of strong performances against the Golden Eagles.
Marquette looks to win and solidify second place in the Big East Conference, after the loss to UConn puts them nearly out of reach for first.
The Golden Eagles look to win and gain some steam heading into March.
Coming up, could the men's lacrosse team hang with the national champs? Plus, some of our weekly award winners. So don't go anywhere, as we'll be back right after the break.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, These flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Ruby Mulvaney.
And I'm Allison McMillan.
The men's lacrosse team has been rolling, but with an undefeated season on the line, the Golden Eagles welcome in the reigning national champs, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Graduate student attacker Jake Stegman gets the party started at Valley Fields with a goal straight from the opening face-off to put Marquette up early.
It does not take long for Notre Dame to find the equalizer, and a minute later, graduate student attacker Pat Kavanaugh converts his first goal of the season.
Stegman is in the zone and scores his second goal to give the Golden Eagles the lead right back.
But the Irish are unfazed as the #1 team in the country punches in 3 straight goals to push their lead to 2 late in the first quarter.
With 1 second left in the quarter, junior attacker Bobby O'Grady uses the inbound pass and taps in the ball as the buzzer sounds to keep the Golden Eagles within 1.
After the Irish regain their 2-goal lead, graduate student face-off specialist Luke Williams tries to keep the Golden Eagles at bay with Notre Dame with a fierce goal off the face-off.
Even with Marquette's best effort, Notre Dame shows why they are reigning national champions and rattle off 4 unanswered goals to take a 5-goal lead into half.
During that span, junior attacker Chris Kavanaugh scores back-to-back goals for the Fighting Irish.
The momentum stays with Notre Dame after the break, and the Fighting Irish put 2 more in the back off the net to take a commanding 7-goal lead.
O'Grady's 4-goal afternoon is not enough as #1 Notre Dame cruises past Marquette 21-8. With the win, the Fighting Irish are now 12-0 against Marquette in program history. Despite the tough loss, Coach Stimmel is proud of how hard they played against the #1 team in the country.
I mean, listen, all credit goes to Coach Corrigan. They played a heck of a game. I really felt like in the first half, I loved how we played, honestly. I mean, a couple plays here and there. I believe it was, 9-5 at half. I felt like, we make 1 or 2 plays. It's, instead of a 4-goal game, it might be a 1 or 2-goal game going into halftime. And I felt really good about the effort our guys put in. I just told our guys in the locker room, super proud of how hard they play. I didn't really feel like at any moment we backed down or backed away from a team that's, former national championship team last year, and added some really good pieces in the offseason, so might be better than they were a year ago. But we're just not there yet, and that's okay. We're 4 games into the season, by far and away the best opponent we've played, and I just believe in our team. I believe in our team's ability to improve. I believe in our staff's ability to coach and get better. And
with his 3rd goal in the game, Bobby O'Grady became just the 2nd player in program history to reach 100 career goals in the blue and gold. Despite getting this achievement in a blowout, O'Grady is grateful to his teammates.
It's kind of weird to think about it right now because she got smoked, but it's a lot of credit to my teammates. Most of them are probably assisted, so I got to give it all to them because without them, I don't have nearly as many goals as that. So just all about them. Yeah.
O'Grady has 101 goals in his career and sits only 1 goal shy of Ryan McNamara, who is first with 102 career goals. After the 1-1 week, 1 Golden Eagle lands on the weekly honor roll. Graduate student attacker and midfielder Jake Stegman gets the honor roll nod after this week. Stegman totaled 12 points, including setting Marquette's single game assist record with 6 in the win over Detroit Mercy. Stegman also put up a team high of 5 points versus Notre Dame with 2 goals and 3 assists.
The women's lacrosse team continues their 5-game road trip in Chicago as they take on the number 4 ranked Northwestern Wildcats. The Wildcats waste no time as they score 20 seconds into the game.
Graduate student midfielder Lindsey Frank gets the goal to put Northwestern up 1-0.
But junior attacker Meg Byerly gets Marquette right back in it by capitalizing on the woman up opportunity.
Northwestern goes on to score 10 unanswered goals until a goal from senior middle fielder Leah Steiner ends the run.
The Wildcats go on another big run, scoring another 7 straight goals, including a former Golden Eagle getting into the mix.
Former Marquette star and graduate student attacker Mary Skumar gets one past her old teammate to increase Northwestern's lead.
Even in the midst of a blowout, first-year attacker / midfielder Eileen Dooley gets her first career goal in her hometown. Northwestern cruises to a 21-3 victory, handing Marquette its second straight loss. Graduate attacker Dylan Amonte and sophomore attacker Madison Taylor each end the day with 4 goals. Schumar also adds 2 goals and 3 assists of her own. Byerly, Steiner, and Byerly each have a goal for a piece for Marquette. Now for our weekly awards. With basketball and lacrosse under center, Marquette athletics are shining bright.
Our Team of the Week award goes to the women's basketball team as they won 2 of their 3 games this week, all by near blowouts.
Our MVP of the week goes to none other than Liza Carlin of the women's basketball team.
Liza earned herself a spot on the Big East weekly honor roll for her 16-point, 12-rebound double-double, her 7th of the year against DePaul.
With her performance, Carlin also earns a spot on the Big East honor roll.
Over on the lacrosse field, Isabel Kasuki wins our 6th Woman of the Year. The sophomore attacker and midfielder scored 4 goals off the bench for the Golden Eagles in their loss against Louisville.
Those goals were the first of the season for Kuwasaki and 7th of her career.
Kuwasaki also had 2 shots in the loss versus Northwestern. An honorable mention for our awards goes to men's lacrosse player Bobby O'Grady and women's basketball player Mackenzie O'Hare. O'Grady also had 4 goals off the bench, tallying to his 100th goal in his career.
O'Grady is only 2nd in team history to reach this feat.
Mackenzie O'Hare also dropped 19 points in her game against DePaul. And coming up this week in athletics, the men's basketball team hosts the DePaul Blue Demons tomorrow, February 21st at 8 p.m. at the Pfizer Forum.
The men's basketball team continues their homestand against Xavier on Sunday, February 25th at 4 p.m.
The women's lax team travels to Jacksonville to play Jacksonville University this Saturday, February 24th at 11 a.m.
Also on Saturday, the women's basketball team plays at Xavier at 1 p.m.
The women's basketball team also hosts St. John's next Tuesday, the 27th, at the Owl at 7:30 p.m.
And finally, on Saturday, once again, the men's lacrosse team travels to Naples to play number 13 ranked Michigan at 6 p.m. Coming up in other sports, is Caitlin Clark really the greatest scorer of all time?
Plus, should the Bucks be worried? Find out after the break.
after you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
One of the biggest storylines from over the weekend is how Caitlin Clark officially passed Kelsey Plum for most points in the women's NCAA tournament. As she continues to soar through the competition, is she one of the greatest women's basketball players ever, or just the greatest scorer of all time?
Oh man, Kristen, looking at me like that. I'm going to say that she is one of the greatest scorers of all time, but she's not the greatest player of all time. There have been a lot of big names in women's basketball. We talk about even before, WNBA came very late. There were a ton of players back in the 80s and the 90s. Talk about the Lisa Leslies, more recently the Kelsey Plums, the Breanna Stewarts, where I think that ultimately Caitlin Clark is with them as one of the greatest players. But I think the difference is she hasn't been able to win with her team in Iowa. They haven't been able to win that national championship. And I think until she's able to do that, I can't put her ahead of some of the greats.
I would have to agree. I think she is the greatest scorer of all time. I mean, even the shot that she took to get the record, she took it transition from the logo. So it was a huge shot. It was a really big, really awesome shot. So it was crazy, but I just don't think that she is the greatest player of all time. You have Lisa Leslie, you have Cheryl Miller, you have Candace Parker. Asia Wilson is is similar to what Kelsey Plum did. She didn't really have anyone. Yes, Dawn Staley is one of the greatest coaches of all time, but you didn't really have anyone like her. Yeah. And she went and she took her team to a national championship. Now, Kelsey Plum has done a lot of great things, but can she be the greatest player of all time? I don't think so. People have been saying that she's the GOAT. It's just I'm wondering if they started watching basketball last year.
Sure.
Because she's great, but there have been players that have changed the game. They just haven't had the same TV and media coverage that she has had.
Of course, yeah. And since Doc Rivers took over the Bucks, it hasn't been pretty in Milwaukee. The Bucks were 3-7 heading into the All-Star break, raising many questions around the league. Who's to blame? Was it hiring Doc a mistake?
Gabe?
Oh, I think it was a mistake so far. And I never really liked the Doc Rivers hire in the first place because Doc Rivers comes in as a head coach who's won a whole lot of regular season games. I mean, he's a top 10 regular season coach of all time. But he's never been able to get it done when it matters most in the playoffs, except with the Boston Celtics back in 2008. So we talk about a coach that's coached over a decade with fantastic teams. We talked about those Celtics teams continued. We talked about the Clippers teams that never made it to the Western Conference Finals. We talked about a Philadelphia 76ers team that couldn't make the finals. Then the Bucks, they fired Adrian Griffin to bring in a coach who can't win in the playoffs. And we're at this point, we talk about 3-7. I think it was a poor hire on the Milwaukee Bucks' part because they were a team that was sitting second place in the Eastern Conference with their old head coach. I don't really know what they were thinking. You know, if things weren't working and players had said something about Adrian Griffin, that's one thing. But Doc Rivers has not been able to get it done. And, I mean, things are getting a little dicey over in Milwaukee.
I wouldn't say hiring Doc was a mistake. Maybe hiring him before the All-Star break was. Because Adrian Griffin was in his first season as a head coach. And while there is a lot of talent in Milwaukee, Damian Lillard was just traded. So it's going to take a little time for that chemistry to really form. It's going to take some time for Giannis to get back into it. And I think, you know, you trade Drew Holiday away, one of the biggest pieces to your 2021 championship team. So it really makes you think, is it really Doc's fault? I wouldn't say so. I don't think the Bucks should have fired Adrian Griffin. He was in his first year. Yes, they might have not had great on the defensive end, but you have to give it Damian Lillard. He wasn't his best. He hasn't hit his best form yet. And yes, it's a new team, but I just don't think you can all put all the blame on Doc because Adrian Griffin, I feel like, was doing just fine. Yeah, the defense was a little bad, but I just don't think firing your head coach in his first season, not even halfway through the season, was really the best way to go.
Being from Philadelphia myself, I would say I'm really sad to see him come here to Milwaukee, but I would have to agree with you, Kristen.
Yeah. I don't know, Gabe, if you have a counter argument to it.
I just, you know, like, Doc Rivers is just not a winner. Like, he doesn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And him coming in here being 3-7 after a team that was winning games. I mean, we're not talking like the Bucks were 6th in the East or 7th or 8th. They were 2nd in the Eastern Conference, and they were winning games. Now, all of a sudden, they are closer to 8th than they are to 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucks are right now talking about hopefully making the play-in or like late in the playoffs at this rate. I think
they'll be fine. They just got to figure it out, but they'll be fine.
I think they're going to be fine, but I find it so strange that they brought in Doc Rivers at this point, and he needs to figure it out soon. You know, he said that he came in and he's been facing a lot of criticism, and that criticism was saying, like, look, they're putting all the blame on Doc, and he was like, you know, it's hard coming into a new team. I don't think it's that hard coming into a new team that's this talented. I mean, it's not like he's coming into a team that they're rebuilding. He's coming into the 2nd overall team in the East with the MVP and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's won it multiple times. I don't know. Doc Rivers isn't getting it done. It's going to take a lot to change my mind.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know what else to say to that. I feel like you just can't put it all on head coach. It's like also just the teammates as well. I just feel like yes, Milwaukee has been good. Yes, Milwaukee has really done a great job in the last few years. Yeah. But when you get such a big piece for like Doc or like Damian Lillard, I feel like it takes a little time because or maybe it just won't work out with Dame in Milwaukee. But I feel like it's the superstars too, because we saw that in Brooklyn with the big three. We saw they didn't really gel. They didn't play any games together. So I feel like it just depends on your players and how the chemistry works.
Of course. Well, thanks for the great discussion. We're out of time. Tune in next week for all of our coverage of Marquette sports and more. I'm Allison McMillan. Good night, Marquette.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.